Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and today I'm going to be doing an update to my Appliancer deck profile. So this is a really great, fun deck that just got some new support in the Brothers of Legend set with the new Appliancer Propelion, and then we also got a new spell card, which we will get to a little bit later. But for those of you guys who don't know, Appliancers are just sort of like a machine spam deck where you're trying to spam out as many of these Appliancer guys as possible to get into some like nice link summoning. The link summon spamming and stuff, or like the link summoning doesn't really spam out too much because a lot of the monsters have restrictions where they can't be used as link material the turn that they are link summoned. But basically with the Appliancers, you're trying to almost plug them in like an appliance into an outlet. So they have effects when they are co-linked, so like when they are plugged in, and when they are not co-linked, basically when they are unplugged. So, yeah, anyways, it's just got a really cool, fun playstyle. So let's get on into the profile. So for those of you guys who are new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you guys haven't already, I'm always doing updates to my more budget and fun decks, and also doing some nice competitive deck profiles here and there. So starting off with our 3 copies of Socket Roll, this card is really important to the deck because this is like the card that really gets a lot of your summon spamming going. So with this card, if you control an Appliancer monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then if another Socket Roll is special summoned to your side of the field, you're able to special summon like basically the 3rd copy of Socket Roll from your deck. But a really nice part about this deck is that it does have, we're playing 3 copies of the Copy Bockle. So what this card does is that basically if you have like your Socket Roll on the field, you're able to copy the name of the Socket Roll and then special summon this card onto the field. And then basically your Socket Roll thinks that another copy of Socket Roll was summoned, and then you're able to get that special summon off, which is really, really nice. We have our 3 copies of Breaker Bockle. This is easily like the worst one of the deck, but you just got to play some names because there's only these 3 monsters for the main deck. Hopefully we will get like 1 or 2 more main deck monsters, and this deck will be a little bit more viable. Just for another Link or XZ spamming tool, we have our 3 copies of Parallel Exceed. This card is just really nice to be able to when you get your link summoning going, you're able to special summon this onto the field, and then you can go into like a Baguska or just extend your link plays, which is really nice. Then I'm playing a significant Kaiju lineup, I think even more than on my last profile. So I'm playing basically 1 copy of each of the ones that you normally see, and just 1 of each of like all of the different attack typings. That way if you draw into 2 of them, you can just give your opponent the lowest attack one, and then you can keep the highest attack one for yourself to just beat down. This is a going second build, so I just really like playing the Kaijus in here. That way you're able to actually summon them out, and then 2 of your different link monsters are able to get around the Kaijus very easily, so that's very, very nice. Getting on into the spell cards, we have our 3 copies of Appliancer Electro-Lyrical World. This card is super duper good for the deck. Field spell that just basically when it's activated, you're able to get any Appliancer card from your deck to your hand, which is nice to be able to search for a card and not just a monster. So you're able to get one of these spells as well. I don't believe that the deck has any traps yet, so we're not playing any traps in the deck. But yeah, if they get a trap, eventually we'll be able to search for that. Basically, with this card, whenever you link summon one of your Appliancer monsters, you're actually able to bounce back one of your Appliancer monsters from the graveyard back to your hand, which is nice to be able to like get that Socket Roll. If you hadn't used the special summoning effect, let's say that you normal summon Socket Roll and then did some link summoning, then you're actually able to get back the Socket Roll to your hand and then do that special summoning, which is really, really cool. And then also it has an effect to where if one of your link monsters attacks, you can, or one of your Appliancer monsters attacks, you're able to sort of move them around, just being able to move the Appliancer link monsters around so that they can get their either their non-co-linked or their co-linked effects, which is really, really cool. 3 copies of the Appliancer Reuse. This is basically Monster Reborn for the deck. So brings back an Appliancer monster from the graveyard, special summon it, but place it back onto the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. Then we are playing 3 of the new spell card, the Appliancer Conversion. So Conversion. So this card is pretty good. I don't know totally how I feel about it yet. So still testing it out around 3. But with this card, you basically banish as many of your Appliancer link monsters from the field, and then you're able to special summon back as many of your banished Appliancer link monsters as possible. So basically with that, you can like banish your Propelion and your Laundry Dragon, and then you're able to like basically bring them back. And then just put them in different zones. You can even keep them in the same zones. But the really cool thing about that is the fact that then their restrictions about not being able to be link summoned is lifted. So you're able to actually link summon them. Like if you're still in your main phase 1, or if you're in your battle phase and you go in your main phase 2, and you just want to like end on an Appaloosa or something for some protection. So it is really, really nice. And it can help you dodge certain effects, like if your opponent's about to hit you with like Dark Hole, anything like that that's about to blow up the field. You can chain this. It's a quick play spell, so that's really, really nice. Then also you can add this card back to your hand by banishing any appliance or spell from your graveyard, which is really nice, which is why I'm playing this next card at 2. I don't really like Appliancer Test very much, just because it's kind of like Conversion, where you already have to be set up to be able to use this. So this is like a good protection card. And then this is like a comeback card. The only problem is that you still have to have like your Link 2 monster on the field to be able to use this. So these two cards I'm pretty hesitant on, but if, you can get this card back to your hand more easily if you're playing more Appliancer names, so that's why I like playing these at pretty high multiples. But with the Appliancer Test, it's kind of like another Monster Reborn. You target a Appliancer Link monster you control, and then special summon as many Link 1 Appliancers from your graveyard as possible. I'm really hoping that we eventually get like a Link 4 Appliancer monster, because then you'd be able, or like even a Link 3, so it would have like 3 zones that you could summon to. That would be really, really nice. But yeah, again, you just sort of have to be set up to be able to use that. So not very often that you're going to be left with a Link 2 on the field if your opponent blows up your board. But then we're playing our 3 copies of Where Art Thou. This is a new edition of the deck, and I don't really know why I wasn't playing it. This is just for added consistency. This is actually a 43 card build. I was pretty happy with where my 40 card deck was, but I added Where Art Thou just for some added consistency. So you can see like the copy buckle or the socket roll a little more often. 3 copies of Machine Duplication, super duper free in this deck, because all of your Appliancer guys are like meet the condition of the Machine Duplication under 500 attack, and machine monsters. Also for our Kaijus, again, just because we're going second, we really want to play 3 copies of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Not main decking Dark Ruler no more. I was considering it, but yeah, overall, the Kaiju Slumbers are really nice to be able to just sort of bust through your opponent's board. 2 copies of Pot of Avarice, because we're playing so many monsters, and like you can just fill up your graveyard so quickly. It's nice having your graveyard also set up for some of these other cards, like the Appliancer Test and whatnot, but having the Pot of Avarice really helps you to recycle some of your extra deck stuff that you want, and also just helps you to get that draw too, and you can also recycle your Kaijus, which is really, really cool. We have 1 copy of Terraforming, 1 1-for-1, 1 Monster Reborn, and 1 Called by the Grave, just so we can get most, or at least some of our searches through. But then let's get on into the extra deck. So, for the extra deck, we are playing 2 copies of Appliancer Celtipus. This card is sort of like the godfather of the deck. This is what you want to be getting into as quickly as possible, and then all of your the rest of your plays kind of depend on him. So he's got like his 2 plugs that he can go into, your down left arrow and your straight down arrow. So with this card, if this link card cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects or their attacks, which is really cool because we have quite a bit of battle phase related effects. So your opponent's going to have to like bust through your other battle phase kind of cards before they can get to the Celtipus. And again, you just definitely want to get this on the field and keep it on the field, because it's just hard to be able to get into the Link 2. But once you can get into it, then your plays really start to kick off. But yeah, like a lot of battle phase related stuff. And then also this card can help you draw cards, which is really, really nice. Then getting on into 2 copies of our Laundry Dragon. This is your main daddy that you want to go into as far as your battle related stuff. Because with this card, if this co-link card battles an opponent's monster, you can banish that opponent's monster. So it just helps you get around big things like Dragoon and whatnot that can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. And then also once per turn, after damage calculation, if this card that is not co-linked battles an opponent's monster, you can just destroy that opponent's monster. And if you do, inflict damage equal to its original attack, which is really, really cool. Again, this card just can basically get around anything, like battle-wise, which is really, really cool. Also, no players take any battle damage from this card, but again, you can still inflict that effect damage if not co-linked. Then we're playing 2 copies of the new Appliancer Propellion. And basically, this card has the same effect twice to basically be able to reduce your opponent's monster's attack to 0. So when this card is linked, you're able to basically, if one of your monsters battles an opponent's monster, you can make that opponent's monster's attack 0. So any of your monsters battles one of your opponent's monsters, that goes to 0. And then its non-co-linked effect is that if this card specifically attacks one of your opponent's monsters, you can also make that one 0. So again, with that new quick play spell, it is really, really nice to be able to just sort of move these cards, banish them for a split second, bring them back to the field, and then you can move them around. That way, let's say a bunch of your stuff battles over your opponent's monsters, brings them all down to 0, and then your Propellion is able to actually just attack over your opponent's stuff as well, which is really, really cool. 1 copy of the Appliancer VacuLL font, 1 copy of the Pickle Rick Kappa scale, then also moving on into our last, the 1 copy of Appliancer Dryer Drake. This card is also just really, really nice to be able to use. He's really great when you can shuffle him around on the board as well. Then moving on into our more generic stuff, we have 1 copy of Link Karibo. This is just a really nice setup for your, basically with your Parallel Exceed. If you have a suboptimal hand, you can at least go into Link Karibo. You have an arrow facing down, you can Parallel Exceed, and then go into Baguska. 1 copy of Relinquished Anima. This card just works so well with your kaijus to be able to just kaiju one of your opponent's monsters and then put it into a zone above the extra monster zone and then just snatch it up. The only problem with going into these is that it kind of locks you out of your Celtipus because it does require Appliancers. I think that once this deck gets a little bit more support and is a little bit more fleshed out, this engine might end up leaving, but for now I think that it is still pretty important to play. 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn, 1 copy of Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, and then Access Code Talker. These are your main generic guys that you're going to go into with Parallel Exceed, as well as your Baguska. Again, this card is just super duper powerful to be able to make your opponent's stuff all go into defense, and then you can sort of sit for a turn and, kind of catch your breath. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for today's deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I know a lot of you guys have been enjoying the Karibo deck profile. I'm really happy about that. The Karibo deck profile was very, very fun to do, very fun to get back into that deck. But thank you guys very much for joining, and we will catch you guys for the next one. Peace.